The handcuffs cut into Grace's wrists. "Ms. Mensah, where is your visa documentation?" Grace stared at the immigration officer. Young. Clean uniform. The kind of man who'd never been afraid of anything in his life. "My husband has it." "Your ex-husband. Soon to be ex. And he won't give it to you." "No." "Why not?" Grace's jaw tightened. "Because if I don't have papers I can't leave. And if I can't leave he wins." The officer opened a folder. "You've been here 20 years. Your visa expired in 2005. That's 20 years unlawful presence. My husband told me he was renewing it. Did you verify that I was busy trying not to get killed?" The officer looked up. Something flickered across his face. "The medical records show significant trauma. Why didn't you report it sooner?" Grace laughed. "No humor in it. He told me what would happen." "Grace, you think they'll believe you? You're nobody here. I'm the citizen. You're just an illegal who overstayed her welcome." And he was right. Because here I am. In handcuffs. And he's free. The officer closed the folder. "I can't promise you won't be deported." "I know. Can I ask you something?" Grace leaned forward. "If your wife beat you every day for 20 years and the only way out was losing your children forever, what would you do?" He didn't answer. Behind the glass partition Grace saw her daughter. Sarah, 16 years old, sitting next to Marcus. Grace waved. Sarah turned away. Marcus smiled. "Before we go further, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell. Because the stories here, they're not the ones anyone else is telling. They're about people who survive impossible things. People who pay prices you can't imagine just to exist. Drop a comment. Tell me what city you're watching from. Tell me if you understand why leaving isn't simple. Because Grace's story, it's just beginning. And by the end you'll understand why some victories feel like losses. Why freedom costs everything. Now let's go back to where it started." Grace was on her knees scrubbing blood off a hospital floor when her phone rang. "Grace, it's your brother." Her hands froze. 3 in the morning in Accra. Her brother never called. "What happened?" Mom collapsed. "Cancer. Stage 4. They want money for treatment. 5,000 cedis. Grace looked at her pay envelope. 200 cedis. 2 weeks of work. "I don't have it." "Then she dies." Grace hung up. Went back to scrubbing. The blood wouldn't come out. Grace, her supervisor, stood over her. "American missionaries need a translator tomorrow. Church service. Pays 300 cedis." Grace looked up. What time? That's how she met Marcus Williams. He was tall. Confident. American. He smiled at her after the service. "You speak English beautifully." "Thank you. You're a nurse, just graduated. Ever think about working in the States? Nurses make good money there." Grace laughed. "I dream about it. But getting a visa, finding a job. It's impossible." Marcus stepped closer. "Nothing's impossible. Not if you have help." Grace's mother grabbed her arm after he left. "That man wants something from you." "Mom, he's just being friendly." "Grace, listen. Men like that don't talk to girls like us unless they want something. Make sure what he wants is good for you too." 3 months later Marcus came back. Then again. And again. Phone calls every week. By January he was talking about marriage. "I'm 35, he said over the phone. "I've dated plenty of women. None of them have your heart. Your strength. Marry me. Come to America. I'll sponsor you." Grace's mother was dying by then. 3 months to live, the doctors said. Maybe less. Marcus wired $2,000. For treatment, he said. It bought her mother 2 extra months. 2 months of Grace holding her hand, listening to her whisper, "Go. Go to America. Save your brothers and sisters. This is your chance." Her mother died in March. Marcus flew in for the funeral. At the graveside, while Grace's siblings cried, he knelt down. "Marry me. Right now. Let me give you the life you deserve." Grace looked at her 3 younger siblings. Orphans now. Debts piling up. No money. No future. Yes. They married 2 weeks later. Grace boarded a plane in May with a suitcase and hope. Minneapolis was cold. The apartment was worse. Grace stood in the doorway. "This is it." Marcus carried her suitcase up 3 flights of stairs. "Temporary. Until you start working." The apartment was 1 bedroom. Kitchen smaller than her bathroom in Ghana. Rust stains. Mildew smell. Sirens outside. When do I start my nursing certification? Marcus opened a beer. We need to talk about that. Grace's stomach dropped. Talk about what your credentials aren't recognized here. You'd have to start over. Classes, exams, clinical hours. 2-3 years. $30,000. You didn't tell me that. I didn't want to worry you. But you can work in the meantime. Home health aide. $12 an hour. Grace did the math. $25,000 a year. Before taxes. After rent and bills, nothing left. Marcus, my siblings and we'll help them. But you're starting from scratch. It takes time. That night Grace lay in bed next to a man she'd spent 30 days with. A man she'd married because she was drowning and he threw a rope. She wondered if the rope had a noose at the end. 6 weeks later she found work cleaning houses. $50 a house. 5 houses a week. Under the table. She gave Marcus the money every Friday. For rent, he said. We're in this together. Grace never saw where the money went. Where were you? She asked one Thursday when he stumbled in at midnight. Work event. Do you get paid for those? What kind of question is that? I'm trying to understand how we're saving money. If what, Grace, if I don't account for every minute to you? He moved closer. Whiskey breath. Let me make something clear. I brought you here. I married you. I gave you a chance. You don't question me. You're here because of me. Grace learned to stay quiet after that. 3 months later she was throwing up in the bathroom. She took a pregnancy test. Positive. She took 2 more. All positive. She told Marcus on a Sunday morning. You're sure? I took 3 tests. How did this happen? Grace stared at him. How did? Marcus, we're married. This is what happens. He finally looked up from his phone. This is bad timing. Bad timing. We can't afford a baby. We'll figure it out. People do. People with money do. People with insurance. He stood up. You better work until the last minute. Because I'm not doing this alone. He left. Grace sat on the couch, hand on her stomach, wondering if bringing a child into this was cruel. The first time he hit her she was washing dishes. 7 months pregnant. Exhausted. Marcus came home at 7. What's for dinner? I just got home. I'll start in a minute. It's 7 o'clock. I'm hungry now. I'm not feeling well. You're never feeling well. What's wrong with you? Grace turned back to the sink. Hands shaking. Scrubbing a plate. Water running. Marcus grabbed her arm. Spun her around. Don't turn your back on me when I'm talking. I'm sorry. Stop saying sorry and cook. I just need a minute. His hand connected with her cheek. Grace stumbled. Caught herself on the counter. Ears ringing. Face burning. She touched her cheek. Already swelling. Marcus stood there breathing hard. You made me do that. You push me, Grace. You push and push. Grace couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Just stood there, water dripping from her hands, trying to understand what happened. Marcus walked out. Bedroom door slammed. Grace turned off the water. Started making dinner. Their son was born in September. Grace labored for 16 hours alone. Marcus was at work. She called him 15 times. Voicemail. 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 At 6 a.m. she gave birth. A boy. 7 pounds. The nurse placed him on her chest. What's his name? Grace looked at her phone. No messages from Marcus. Marcus Jr. Marcus showed up at 7 a.m. Looked through the nursery window. He's small. Is that normal? The nurse's smile faded. 7 pounds is average. Huh. Marcus checked his phone. I gotta go. I'll be back later. He didn't come back that day. 2 years later Sarah was born. Same story. Grace labored alone. Marcus passed out drunk at home. When Grace brought Sarah home, Marcus looked at her and said, 2 kids. Christ, Grace. You know what this costs? Grace knew. She was paying for it. 3 cleaning jobs. 6 in the morning to 10 at night. Feeding babies. Sending money to Ghana. Holding everything together while Marcus tore it apart. One night Sarah was 3 months old. Screaming with colic. Marcus sat on the couch watching TV. I need you to help. Help with what? The baby. Marcus Jr. Anything. I work all day. So do I. All day and all night. Marcus turned off the TV. Grace knew that was bad. You know what your problem is? You don't appreciate what you have. You're in America. You have a roof. You have food. You have kids who are citizens. And you complain. I'm not complaining. I'm asking for help. You're asking me to do your job. Your job is this house and these kids. My job is to provide. You don't provide. I clean houses so we can afford to live. What do you do? The words were out before Grace could stop them. She saw Marcus's face change. Saw his hands curl. Knew what was coming. He stood up slowly. What did you just say? Sarah was still screaming. Marcus Jr. asleep in the next room. Grace's body ached everywhere. Nothing, Grace whispered. I said nothing. That's what I thought. He went to bed. Grace stayed up with Sarah for 3 more hours. Rocking her. Singing in twee. Wondering how many more years she could survive this. The answer was 20. 20 years of cleaning up after a man who hated her. 20 years of raising children who watched their father destroy their mother. 20 years of working herself to dust while Marcus drank the money away. 20 years of being told she was nothing, nobody, lucky to be here. 20 years before she found out the truth. She was cleaning Marcus's office. He'd left his laptop open. Grace saw an email from Immigration Services to Marcus about visa renewal. Your application for spousal visa renewal has been denied due to lack of submission. Grace scrolled. Email after email. Going back years. Renewal notices. Requests for documentation. All ignored. Marcus had let her visa expire. On purpose. Grace's hands shook. She kept scrolling. Bank statements. Accounts she didn't know existed. Child support payments from another state. Marcus had another kid. Credit card statements. Thousands spent on escorts. Hotels. Gambling. Insurance documents. He'd been telling his company Grace didn't exist. Collecting benefits as a single father. The front door opened. Grace closed the laptop. Grace, what are you doing in here? Marcus stood in the doorway. Grace stood up. Nothing. Just cleaning. He moved closer. Saw her face. You looked at my laptop. No, don't lie to me. He grabbed her arm. What did you see? Nothing. I swear you saw everything, didn't you? His grip tightened. You know what this means. You're illegal, Grace. You've been illegal for 15 years. One phone call to ICE and you're gone. You did this on purpose. Of course I did. You think I'd give you the power to leave? He shoved her against the wall. You're mine. You'll always be mine. And if you try to leave, I'll make sure you never see those kids again. That was 3 years ago. Grace stayed. Because what choice did she have? No papers. No money. No way out. Marcus had built the perfect cage. Until the night he beat her so badly the doctor said if you go back he will kill you. Grace was in the hospital 3 days. Broken ribs. Concussion. Internal bleeding. Sarah visited. Mom, are you going to leave him? Grace looked at her daughter. 16 years old. Beautiful. Scared. I don't know if I can. I don't want you to die. I don't want you to grow up thinking this is normal. Marcus Jr. visited too. 19 now. Sent by Marcus. Dad says come home. Stop making a scene. Your father almost killed me. Maybe you provoked him. Grace saw it then. She'd lost him. Completely. Marcus called the hospital phone. Grace. Come home. I'm sorry. I'll change. You know I love you. Then his voice dropped. Cold. But if you don't come home, if you involve the police, I'll destroy you. I'll take those kids and you'll never see them again. I'll tell immigration you're illegal. I'll tell them you abuse the kids. You'll rot in a detention center. Try me. Grace hung up. Looked at the social worker. I want to file for divorce. It's going to be ugly. I know. You might lose custody. I know. You might get deported. I know. Grace took a breath. But if I go back I die. And dead I can't fight for anything. That was 6 months ago. 6 months of court battles. Immigration hearings. Children who looked at her like she was a stranger. 6 months of fighting for the right to exist. 6 months that led her here. Immigration office. Handcuffs. Officer asking why she didn't leave sooner. The officer uncuffed her. You can go. Stay in the county. And Ms. Mensah, yes, get a better lawyer. You're going to need one. Grace walked out. The sun was too bright. Her wrists hurt. Her phone buzzed. Text from her lawyer, custody hearing next week. Be ready. Another text. Marcus, you'll regret this. Grace looked at the messages. 20 years ago those words would have destroyed her. 20 years ago she would have gone back. Apologized. Made herself small. But not today. Grace deleted the text. Started walking. She didn't know where she was going. Didn't matter. For the first time in 20 years she was choosing her own direction. And that was enough. Grace walked 3 blocks before she realized she had nowhere to go. The domestic violence shelter was full. Had been full for 2 weeks. Her lawyer said to find a friend's couch. Grace didn't have friends. 20 years with Marcus had made sure of that. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Mensah, this is Linda Chen from Family Services. We have your supervised visitation scheduled for tomorrow. 2 p.m. Please confirm. Grace leaned against a bus stop. With both kids, Sarah confirmed she'll be there. Marcus Jr. declined. He declined. Yes, ma'am. He's 19. He can make that choice. Grace hung up. Stood there watching traffic. Cars full of people going places. People with homes. People with children who wanted to see them. A text came through. Sarah, Mom, I can only stay 1 hour tomorrow. I have homework. Grace typed back, I understand. I love you. No response. Another text. Marcus, Sarah tells me you're homeless now. Pathetic. Grace's hands shook. She turned off her phone. The shelter worker had given her a list. Churches that might help. Organizations. Resources. Grace pulled it out. Called the first number. Trinity Hope Mission. Hi, I need somewhere to stay. Just temporary. I'm waiting on my U visa and we're full. Try Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities was full. So was Lutheran Services. So was every place on the list. The last woman she talked to said, honey, everyone's full. Budget cuts. It's been bad this year. Grace sat on the curb. It was getting dark. October in Minneapolis. Cold coming. Her phone rang again. Another unknown number. Ms. Mensah, this is Dr. Patel from the clinic. Your follow-up appointment for your injuries is tomorrow at 10. Please don't miss it. I'll be there. And Ms. Mensah, the social worker, noted you didn't have stable housing. Is that still accurate? Grace closed her eyes. Yes. Okay. When you come in, ask for Maria in social services. She might have some options. Grace spent that night in a 24-hour laundromat. Sat in a plastic chair. Dozed for 20 minutes at a time. Every time she started to really sleep, the attendant would walk by and she'd jerk awake. At 6 a.m. she went to the bathroom. Washed her face in the sink. Looked at herself in the mirror. 45 years old. Looked 60. Hair going gray. Scar on her cheek from where Marcus had thrown a plate. Eyes so tired they'd forgotten what rest felt like. She remembered being 25. Full of dreams. Her mother's hand in hers. Go to America, Grace. Make us proud. Grace splashed water on her face. Dried it with paper towels. Went back out into the cold. The clinic waiting room was full. Grace checked in. Sat down between a woman with a crying baby and an old man who smelled like he lived on the street. Grace Mensah, she followed the nurse back. Weight. Blood pressure. Temperature. Doctor will be in soon. Dr. Patel came in looking at a chart. Ms. Mensah. How are the ribs healing? Pain level manageable. Dr. Patel looked up. Really looked at her. Where did you sleep last night? Grace's throat tightened. A laundromat. A laundromat. Everything's full. I called every place. Dr. Patel set down the chart. I'm going to be honest with you. Your body needs rest to heal. Sleeping in a laundromat isn't rest. You also need follow-up care. Physical therapy for the ribs. Mental health support for the trauma. None of that happens if you're homeless. I know. Maria in social services is good. But I'll tell you right now, resources are limited. Your immigration status complicates things. And with your custody case ongoing, I know, Grace said again. I know it's complicated. I know I'm not a priority. I know the system isn't designed for people like me. People like you, black, immigrant, undocumented, broke. Grace looked at her hands. Women like me fall through every crack there is. Dr. Patel was quiet for a moment. I'll get Maria. Maria was a round woman with kind eyes and a tired face. She sat down across from Grace. Dr. Patel briefed me. Domestic violence survivor. Pending U visa. 2 kids. Custody battle ongoing. Yes. Housing none. Income none. Savings. Grace almost laughed. No. Maria pulled out a form. There's a transitional housing program. But there's a waiting list. 3 to 6 months. I can't wait 6 months. I know. Maria tapped her pen. There's emergency housing, but it's for people with dependent children living with them. Since your kids are with your ex right now, so I'm not eligible. Not technically. Maria leaned forward. Look, I'm going to be real with you. The system isn't set up for your situation. You're stuck in limbo. Not quite homeless enough for emergency services. Not quite housed enough to be stable. Your immigration status makes everything harder. And custody cases, those can drag for years. So what do I do? Survive. Day by day. There's a church New Hope community that lets people sleep in the basement during winter. It's not official. They just don't kick you out if you show up after evening service. You could try there. Grace nodded, took the address. And Ms. Mensah, document everything. Every text from your ex. Every time you try to see your kids. Every housing rejection. Because when you get in front of that judge, you need to show you did everything right. That you're trying. That you deserve custody. Grace stood up. Thank you. Don't thank me. I didn't do anything. You told me the truth. That's more than most people do. Grace left the clinic. Had 5 hours before the supervised visit. She walked to the library. Free Wi-Fi. Warm. Somewhere to sit. She logged into her email. 17 messages from her lawyer. She opened the most recent one. Grace, we need to talk. Marcus's lawyer filed a motion to terminate your parental rights. Claims you abandoned the children. We have a hearing next month. Call me. Grace's hands went numb. Terminate parental rights. That meant permanent. That meant Marcus wins. That meant she'd never see her children again. She called her lawyer. Voicemail. She left a message. It's Grace. I got your email. Call me back. She hung up. Stared at the computer screen. Wanted to cry but couldn't. Had cried so much over the last 6 months that her body had nothing left. A librarian walked by. Ma'am, are you okay? I'm fine. We have a social worker here on Thursdays. If you need to talk to someone, I'm fine, Grace said again. Thank you. She wasn't fine. She was drowning. But what good did it do to say that nobody could save her? She had to save herself. That's what the shelter worker had said. That's what her lawyer said. That's what everyone said. You have to save yourself, Grace. But how do you save yourself when you have nothing? No money. No home. No power. No rights. How do you fight a system designed to destroy you? Her phone buzzed. Text from the visitation center. Reminder, visit today at 2 p.m. Please arrive 15 minutes early. Grace looked at the time. 1 p.m. She logged out of the computer. Started walking. The visitation center was in a strip mall between a check cashing place and a laundromat. Gray walls. Cheap carpet. Smelled like industrial cleaner and sadness. Grace checked in with a woman behind bulletproof glass. Grace Mensah. 2 p.m. visit. Sign here. ID. Grace handed over her Ghanaian passport. The only ID she had. The woman looked at it. Looked at Grace. You need American ID. This is all I have. Policy says American ID. My driver's license expired. I can't renew it without documentation I don't have. The woman sighed. Made a call. Talked to someone. Hung up. Okay. This time. But next time bring proper ID. Grace signed the sheet. Sat in the waiting room. Plastic chairs. Old magazines. A TV playing Judge Judy with no sound. 2 other women waiting. Both looked like Grace felt. Worn down. Defeated. Fighting battles they couldn't win. Grace Mensah, a social worker, stood in the doorway. Young. Maybe 25. Clipboard. Fake smile. I'm Brittany. I'll be supervising today. Follow me. They walked down a hallway. Doors on either side. Through one door Grace heard crying. Through another yelling. Brittany opened a door. Room 3. Your daughter should be here in a few minutes. Please keep the visit appropriate. No discussing the court case. No asking her to choose sides. No negative talk about her father. Understood, understood. I'll be right outside. The visit is 1 hour. Grace sat down. The room had a table. 4 chairs. A box of toys in the corner for small children. A clock on the wall. Grace watched the second hand move. Each tick felt like a small death. The door opened. Sarah walked in. Grace stood up. Baby, don't call me that. Sarah sat down across from her. Wouldn't look at her. Grace sat back down slowly. How are you? Fine. How's school? Fine. Your brother is fine too. Grace took a breath. Sarah, I know this is hard. You said 1 hour. I'm here. What do you want? I want to talk to you. I want to know how you're doing. I want to know how I'm doing. Sarah finally looked up. Her eyes were red. Had she been crying? You want to know I'm living with Dad. Who drinks every night? Who brings random women home? Who tells me constantly that you abandoned us? That you're selfish. That you only care about yourself. That's not true. I have to listen to him talk about you like you're garbage. I have to defend you to everyone at school because kids found out about the divorce and the custody case and now everyone thinks my mom is some kind of crazy person. Sarah, and Marcus won't talk to me anymore. He says if I keep visiting you he'll cut me off too. So I'm losing my brother because of you. You're not losing him because of me. You're losing him because your father poisoned him. Don't talk about Dad like that. He almost killed me. Sarah. You saw what he did. Maybe you provoked him. Maybe if you'd just been a better wife. The words hit Grace like a fist. She stared at her daughter. Her baby girl. Who she'd given birth to. Who she'd rocked to sleep. Who she'd protected her whole life. You don't believe that. Sarah's face crumpled. I don't know what I believe anymore. I just want this to stop. I want to go back to normal. Normal was me getting beaten every day. Normal was us being a family. We were never a family, Sarah. We were a hostage situation. Sarah stood up. I can't do this. Please sit down. We have 50 minutes left. I don't care. I'm done. She walked to the door. Knocked. Brittany opened it. She wants to leave, Grace said. She can't leave. We have 50 minutes. Brittany looked at Sarah. Do you want to end the visit early? Yes. Okay. You can go. Sarah left. Grace sat there alone. The clock ticked. Brittany came back in. Ms. Mensah, you can leave too. I paid for an hour. The visit ended. You need to go. Grace stood up. Walked out. Got to the parking lot before she started shaking. Leaned against a dumpster. Slid down to the ground. Put her head in her hands. She'd lost them. Both of them. Marcus had won after all. Her phone rang. Her lawyer. Grace, I got your message. About the motion to terminate parental rights. Can they do that? They can try. We'll fight it. But I need to be honest. Your housing situation isn't helping. Neither is your immigration status. Or the fact that Marcus Jr. isn't seeing you and Sarah's visits are ending early. She's 16. She's confused. Marcus is manipulating her, I know. But the court sees a mother who's homeless, undocumented, and whose children don't want to see her. That's a bad look. So what do I do? Get housing. Get your U visa approved. Document every interaction. Show up to every hearing. Fight like hell. I am fighting like hell. Then fight harder. The lawyer hung up. Grace sat by the dumpster for a long time. The sun went down. Temperature dropped. She should go to that church Maria mentioned. New Hope Community. But she couldn't move. Couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. A car pulled up. A woman got out. Late 50s. Ghanaian from the look of her. She saw Grace. Sister, are you okay? Grace looked up. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like you're freezing. Come. I live nearby. I'll make you some tea. I don't need. When was the last time you ate? Grace couldn't remember. Yesterday, the day before. Come, the woman said again. My name is Comfort. Come have some tea and food. Then we'll figure out what to do. Grace didn't have energy to argue. She stood up. Followed Comfort to her car. A 15-year-old Toyota. Comfort drove 6 blocks. Pulled up to a small house. Inside it was warm. Smelled like palm nut soup. Pictures on the walls. Family. Kids. Grandkids. Sit, Comfort said. I'll bring food. Grace sat at the kitchen table. Comfort came back with a bowl of soup and rice. Grace ate. Didn't realize how hungry she was until the first bite. Finished the bowl. Comfort brought more. Thank you. You're Ghanaian, Comfort said. It wasn't a question. Yes. From Accra. I thought so. I can always tell. How long have you been here? 20 years. Comfort sat down across from her. Let me guess. You married an American. Grace nodded. And he turned out to be trash. Grace almost smiled. Yes. And now you're fighting for custody and immigration and you have nowhere to go. How did you know? Because I've seen this story 100 times. My church, we help women like you. Women who came here dreaming and ended up in nightmares. Comfort poured tea. You can stay here tonight. In the morning I'll take you to my pastor. He knows people. Lawyers. Social workers. People who actually help. Grace's throat closed. I can't pay you. Did I ask for money? No, but then stop talking and drink your tea. Grace drank. The tea was sweet. Perfect. Like her mother used to make. Your mother would want you to survive this, Comfort said quietly. Not just survive. Live. Really live. You understand? Grace nodded. Couldn't speak. Too much kindness after too much cruelty. It broke something open inside her. That night Grace slept in a real bed for the first time in 3 days. Comfort's guest room. Clean sheets. Warm blanket. She lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about Sarah's face. The hatred in her daughter's eyes. She thought about Marcus Jr. 19 years old. Refusing to see her. Choosing his father. She thought about Marcus. Right now probably drinking beer in the house Grace had cleaned for 20 years. Probably smiling. Thinking he'd won. Maybe he had won. But Grace was still breathing. Still fighting. Still here. And tomorrow she'd get up and fight again. Because that's what survivors do. They survive. One day. 1 hour. 1 breath at a time. Comfort woke Grace at 6 a.m. with coffee and bad news. Your lawyer called my phone. Court hearing moved up. Tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. Grace sat up. Tomorrow, it was supposed to be next month. Marcus's lawyer filed an emergency motion. Something about you being a flight risk. A flight risk. I can barely afford bus fare. They don't care about truth. They care about winning. Comfort handed her the coffee. Pastor John wants to see you. 8 o'clock. He might be able to help. Grace showered. Put on the same clothes from yesterday. The only clothes she had. Comfort drove her to New Hope Community Church. A small building. Parking lot half empty. Inside smelled like coffee and old carpet. Pastor John was a big man. 60-something. White. Kind eyes. Grace. Comfort told me about your situation. Sit down. Grace sat. Pastor John sat across from her. How long were you married? 20 years. Kids too. 19 and 16. And he's fighting for full custody even though your son is legally an adult. He wants to make sure I never see them again. Pastor John leaned back. I've seen this before. Men who use the system as a weapon. Immigration status, custody laws, all of it. They know exactly how to destroy you legally. He paused. Comfort says you need a lawyer. I have one. She's doing her best, but she's a public defender, yes. Those folks are overworked and underpaid. You need someone who specializes in immigration and family law combined. That's rare. And expensive. Grace's stomach dropped. I don't have money for expensive. I know someone. Her name is Rebecca Morrison. She does pro bono work for abuse survivors. Let me call her. He picked up his phone. Made a call. Grace heard pieces of the conversation. Ghanaian woman. 20 years. U visa pending. Custody battle. Emergency hearing tomorrow. Pastor John hung up. She'll meet you today. 3 p.m. Her office downtown. I can't pay her. She knows. She wants to meet you first. See if she can help. Grace felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. A tiny spark. Not hope exactly. Just the possibility that maybe she wasn't fighting alone. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Rebecca's tough. She doesn't take cases she can't win. If she thinks you don't have a shot, she'll tell you. Grace left the church. Walked to the library. Logged into her email. 23 new messages. Most from her lawyer. 1 from Family Services. 1 from ICE. She opened the ICE email first. Her hands shook. Your deportation hearing has been scheduled for December 15 th. You are required to appear. Failure to appear will result in immediate removal proceedings. December 15 th. 6 weeks away. Grace's vision blurred. 6 weeks. That's all the time she had. 6 weeks to win custody. Get housing. Prove she deserved to stay. 6 weeks before they put her on a plane and she never saw her children again. She opened the Family Services email. Your supervised visitation hours have been reduced to 1 hour per week due to the child's request to limit contact. Next visit scheduled November 5 th. 1 hour per week. Sarah had asked for that. Her own daughter wanted to see her less. Grace closed the laptop, put her head down on the table. A librarian came over. "Ma'am, we have a quiet room if you need privacy." Grace looked up. "I'm fine." She wasn't fine. But what else could she say? Her phone buzzed. Marcus heard about tomorrow's hearing. "You should just give up now. Save yourself the embarrassment." Grace stared at the message. Wanted to throw the phone. Wanted to scream. Instead, she took a screenshot. Her lawyer said document everything. Every text. Every threat. Every manipulation. She typed back, "See you in court." Marcus replied immediately, "Bring your passport. You'll need it when they deport you." Grace turned off her phone. At 3 p.m. she was sitting in Rebecca Morrison's office. Downtown Minneapolis. 23rd floor. View of the city. Leather chairs. The kind of office Grace had only seen in movies. Rebecca was 40-something. Black woman. Natural hair. Sharp suit. Eyes that missed nothing. Grace Mensa. "Tell me everything." Grace talked for 30 minutes. Rebecca took notes. Asked questions. Didn't interrupt. When Grace finished, Rebecca set down her pen. "Your husband is smart. He's been building this case for years. Letting your visa lapse. Controlling your money. Isolating you. Getting the kids dependent on him. Now he's using all of that against you. Can you help me maybe? But I need to be honest. Your immigration status is a problem. The fact that you're homeless is a problem. The fact that your kids don't want to see you is a big problem. And tomorrow's hearing, that's going to be brutal. I know. What I need from you is proof. Proof that he abused you. Proof that he let your visa lapse intentionally. Proof that he's manipulated the children. You have any of that?" Grace thought about the laptop. The emails. The bank statements. His laptop. I saw emails. Bank statements. Evidence he's been defrauding immigration and collecting benefits illegally. Rebecca leaned forward. "You still have access to that laptop number. It's at the house. With him. Could you get it? How? I can't go there. There's a restraining order that works both ways." Rebecca smiled. Not a nice smile. "But your daughter can. She lives there." Grace shook her head. "I'm not asking Sarah to steal from her father. Not steal. Just photograph. A few pictures of emails. Bank statements. Text them to you. That's all we need." "She won't do it. She barely talks to me." "Then convince her. Because without that evidence you're going to lose tomorrow. And once you lose custody, your U visa chances drop significantly. And then you're deported. Is that what you want?" "Of course not." "Then ask your daughter to help you." Grace left the office. Took the bus back to Comfort's house. Sat in the guest room. Stared at her phone. Typed a message to Sarah. "I know you're angry. I know this is hard. But I need your help. Your father has evidence on his laptop that proves he's been lying. Emails. Bank statements. If you could just take some pictures and send them to me, it could change everything." She hit send. Waited. 10 minutes. 20. No response. At 8 p.m. Sarah finally replied, "You want me to spy on Dad? Are you serious?" Grace typed back, "I want you to help me prove the truth. The truth is you abandoned us. That's what everyone says. Everyone is wrong. Your father is lying to you. You're the one who's lying. Dad showed me the hospital report. You hurt yourself and blamed him." Grace's blood went cold. "What hospital report? From when you tried to kill yourself? He said you've been unstable for years. That he tried to help you but you refused treatment." Grace couldn't breathe. Marcus had falsified a hospital report. Or twisted the real one. The night she took too many pills because she couldn't take it anymore. He'd turned her suicide attempt into evidence of mental illness. "Sarah, that's not what happened." "Then what did happen?" Grace started typing. Stopped. How could she explain? How could she make her daughter understand 20 years of abuse in a text message? "I can explain everything if you let me. Please. Just give me a chance." No response. Grace waited until midnight. Nothing. The next morning Comfort drove her to the courthouse. Rebecca was waiting outside. "Did you get the evidence number?" "Sarah won't help." Rebecca's jaw tightened. "Then we go in with what we have. Which isn't much. Keep your answers short. Don't get emotional. Don't argue with their lawyer. And for God's sake, don't lose your temper." They walked into the courtroom. Marcus was already there with his lawyer. A man in an expensive suit. Marcus looked confident. Relaxed. He saw Grace and smirked. The judge came in. Everyone stood. Sat back down. This is an emergency hearing regarding custody of Sarah Williams' minor child. Mr. Williams has filed a motion for sole custody and termination of Ms. Mensah's visitation rights. Let's hear from petitioner's counsel. Marcus's lawyer stood. Your Honor, Ms. Mensah has demonstrated a pattern of instability and abandonment. She left the family home 6 months ago. Since then she's been homeless, unemployed, and has made minimal effort to maintain contact with her children. That's not true, Grace started. Rebecca put a hand on her arm. Let him finish. Furthermore, the lawyer continued, Ms. Mensah is in the country illegally. Her visa expired nearly 20 years ago. She faces deportation proceedings. Giving her custody or visitation rights would be irresponsible when she could be removed from the country at any time. The judge looked at Grace. Ms. Mensah, is it true your visa expired? Grace stood. Yes, Your Honor. But my husband controlled my documents. He intentionally let it lapse to trap me. Do you have evidence of that? Emails on his laptop. But I don't have access, so no physical evidence. Not yet, but sit down, Ms. Mensah. The judge turned to Marcus's lawyer. Continue. We also have concerns about Ms. Mensah's mental health. She has a documented history of suicide attempts. Hospital records show she was treated for self-inflicted injuries. Mr. Williams tried to get her help, but she refused. Your Honor, that's a complete distortion, Rebecca started. Ms. Morrison, you'll have your turn. Mr. Davidson, do you have these hospital records? Yes, Your Honor. The lawyer handed papers to the judge. Grace watched the judge read. Watched her face. Saw skepticism turn to concern. Ms. Morrison, does your client dispute these records? Rebecca stood. Your Honor, those records are from an incident where Ms. Mensah was driven to desperation by ongoing domestic abuse. The context is critical. She's not mentally ill. She's a trauma survivor. Where's the documentation of abuse? We have medical records showing injuries consistent with assault. Photos. Testimony from Ms. Mensah herself? Yes. Any other witnesses? Rebecca hesitated. Not at this time. The judge set down the papers. So we have hospital records showing self-harm. We have no independent witnesses to abuse. We have an expired visa. We have a homeless mother whose children don't want to see her. Ms. Morrison, help me understand why I shouldn't grant Mr. Williams sole custody. Grace felt the room spinning. This wasn't a hearing. It was an execution. Rebecca pulled out a folder. Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence of Mr. Williams's fraudulent activity. We've discovered he's been collecting government benefits while claiming to be a single father. He's also allowed Ms. Mensah's visa to lapse deliberately as a means of control. Where's this evidence? On his personal laptop, which Ms. Mensah saw but couldn't access. So you don't actually have it. Not in hand, but then it doesn't exist for purposes of this hearing. The judge looked at Marcus. Mr. Williams, do you have anything to add? Marcus stood. Humble. Concerned. Playing the part perfectly. Your Honor, I love my children. I've been their primary caregiver their entire lives. Their mother is troubled. I've tried to help her. But she's unstable. She's here illegally. She can't provide for them. I just want to protect my kids from further trauma. The judge nodded. Grace saw it happening. Saw the decision forming. I'm granting Mr. Williams temporary sole custody pending resolution of immigration proceedings. Ms. Mensah's visitation is suspended, Your Honor. Please. Grace stood up. Ms. Mensah, sit down or I'll hold you in contempt. You don't understand. He's lying. He beat me for 20 years. He bailiff remove Ms. Mensah from the courtroom. A bailiff moved toward Grace. Rebecca grabbed her arm. Grace, stop. You're making it worse. Grace shook her off. How can it be worse? He's taking my children. He's bailiff now. The bailiff took Grace's arm. Firm but not rough. Started walking her toward the door. Grace looked back. Saw Marcus smiling. Saw the judge signing papers. Saw her life ending. He's going to kill them, Grace said. Not loud. Just truth. You're giving them to a man who will destroy them. Nobody listened. The bailiff walked her out into the hallway. Let go of her arm. Ma'am, you need to calm down. Grace slid down the wall. Sat on the floor. Put her head in her hands. Rebecca came out a minute later. They suspended all visitation. Emergency order. You can't contact Sarah at all until the next hearing. When's that? 3 months. 3 months, that's after my deportation hearing. I know. Grace looked up. So that's it. I lost. Not yet. We can appeal. We can stop. Grace stood up. Stop lying to me. We both know what happened in there. The system isn't designed to help women like me. It's designed to protect men like Marcus. You said it yourself. I'm black. I'm immigrant. I'm undocumented. I'm poor. I never had a chance. Rebecca's face softened. Grace, thank you for trying. But I can't afford to keep fighting. Not like this. Not when I'm already dead. Grace walked away. Down the courthouse steps. Into the cold November air. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She opened it. Photos. Of Marcus's laptop screen. Emails. Bank statements. All the evidence she needed. Another text came through. From Sarah, I don't know if this helps. But you're my mom. And I think I've been wrong about you. Grace stared at the phone. Started crying. Right there on the courthouse steps. Crying because her daughter still loved her. Crying because it might be too late. Crying because she'd lost everything and gained one small spark of hope and didn't know which hurt more. Rebecca came running out. Grace, wait, she saw Grace's face. Saw the phone. What is it? Grace showed her the photos. Rebecca scrolled through them. Her eyes got wider with each one. This is it. This is everything we need. The judge won't see it. I'm banned from the courtroom. So we file an emergency appeal. We show fraud. We show he falsified documents. We show he's been manipulating the system. Rebecca grabbed Grace's shoulders. This changes everything. Do you understand everything? Grace wanted to believe her. Wanted to hope. But hope had been beaten out of her so many times she didn't know how to feel it anymore. What if it's not enough? Then we make it enough. But Grace, you have to fight. One more time. Can you do that? Grace looked at her phone. At her daughter's message. At the evidence that could save her life or damn her further depending on how the next judge saw it. Yes, she said. I can fight. Because what choice did she have? Give up and lose everything, or fight and maybe possibly against all odds win? Grace chose to fight. Rebecca filed the emergency appeal that afternoon. 2 hours later Marcus called Grace's phone. She didn't answer. He called again. And again. On the 4th call she picked up. Grace, what the hell did you do? I didn't do anything. Don't lie to me. Someone accessed my laptop. Took pictures of private documents. Was it you? I haven't been in that house for 6 months. Then it was Sarah. His voice dropped. Dangerous. Where is she? Grace's heart stopped. What do you mean, where is she? She's not home. Her phone's off. Where is she? I don't know. Marcus, what did you do? What did I do? You turned my own daughter against me. You made her steal from me. And now she's gone, and if anything happens to her, that's on you. He hung up. Grace immediately called Sarah. Straight to voicemail. She called again. Nothing. She called Rebecca. Sarah's missing. Marcus says she's not home and her phone is off. When did you last talk to her? This morning. When she sent the photos. Oh God. He knows. He knows she sent them, and now Grace, calm down. She's probably just at a friend's house. Avoiding him. You don't understand. When Marcus gets angry, he doesn't stop. If he thinks Sarah betrayed him, call the police. And tell them that my estranged husband is looking for our daughter. They'll say it's a custody issue. Then we wait. She'll surface. Teenagers always do. But Grace couldn't wait. She called Comfort. Can you drive me to the house? I need to find Sarah. You have a restraining order. You can't go there. I don't care about the restraining order. My daughter is missing. Comfort picked her up 20 minutes later. They drove to the house Grace had lived in for 20 years. The lights were on. Marcus's car in the driveway. Comfort parked across the street. What's the plan? I don't know. I just need to see if she's there. Grace got out. Walked across the street. Stood at the edge of the property. She could see through the living room window. Marcus was pacing. Talking on the phone. Angry. Grace's phone rang. Sarah. Mom, baby, where are you? I'm at Jasmine's house. Dad was yelling about his laptop and I got scared, so I left. Relief flooded through Grace. Are you okay? I'm fine. But Mom, he knows I sent you those pictures. He's really mad. Don't go home tonight. Stay at Jasmine's. I can't stay here forever. Eventually I have to go back. No, you don't. You're 16. You can choose who you want to live with. Mom, I don't have anywhere else to go. Grace looked at the house. At Marcus through the window. Yes, you do. You can live with me. You don't even have a house. I'll find one. I'll figure it out. Just don't go back there. Please. Sarah was quiet. Okay. I'll stay at Jasmine's tonight. But Mom, you need to know something. Before I left, I heard Dad on the phone. He was talking to his lawyer. He said he's going to have you arrested for violating the restraining order. I haven't violated it. He's going to say you did. He's going to lie, like he always does. Grace closed her eyes. Let him try. We have evidence now. Real evidence. He can't win anymore. Can't he, Mom? He always wins. Not this time. I promise you, not this time. They hung up. Grace walked back to Comfort's car. She was shaking. Sarah's safe. She's at a friend's house. Good. Now let's get out of here before Marcus sees you. They drove away. Grace looked back at the house. Saw Marcus come out onto the porch. Saw him looking up and down the street. Even from a distance she could feel his rage. Her phone buzzed. Text from Marcus: I know you were just here. That's a violation. Expect a visit from the cops. Grace showed Comfort the text. He's bluffing. Is he? Marcus doesn't bluff. He destroys. An hour later there was a knock on Comfort's door. 2 police officers. Grace answered. Grace Mensah: yes. We have a complaint that you violated a restraining order. Were you at 2847 Oakwood Avenue this evening? Grace's mouth went dry. I was across the street. I never went on the property. The restraining order specifies no contact and no proximity within 500 feet. My daughter was missing. I was checking if she was home. Is your daughter a minor? Yes. 16. And where is she now? At a friend's house. Safe. The officers looked at each other. The older one spoke. Ma'am, we understand your concern. But you violated the order. We're required to bring you in. Bring her in. Where Comfort stepped forward. She didn't do anything wrong. Ma'am, please step back. Ms. Mensah, you need to come with us. Grace held out her wrists. Are you arresting me? Not arresting. Detaining. There'll be a hearing tomorrow about the violation. They took her to the station. Put her in a holding cell. Grace sat on the bench. Stared at the wall. Tomorrow there would be another hearing. Another judge. Another chance for Marcus to win. Her phone was gone. They'd taken it along with her other belongings. She had no way to call Rebecca. No way to tell Sarah where she was. She was alone in a cell exactly where Marcus wanted her. Hours passed. Finally a guard came. Your lawyer's here. Rebecca looked furious. What were you thinking going to that house? My daughter was missing. So you call the police. You don't violate a restraining order. I didn't touch the property. I stood across the street. Which is still within 500 feet. Grace, this is bad. The hearing tomorrow, they're going to use this against you. They're going to say you're unstable. That you can't follow rules. That you're a danger to your own children. Grace put her head in her hands. So what do? We fight. Like we've been fighting. But you need to stop giving Marcus ammunition. Rebecca sat down. I got the photos admitted into evidence. The judge agreed to review them. That's good news. When 2 weeks? 2 weeks. My deportation hearing is in 5 weeks. I know. It's tight. But if we can prove Marcus committed fraud, it strengthens your U visa case. Shows you were trapped in the marriage by his illegal actions. And if the judge doesn't see it that way, Rebecca didn't answer. Didn't need to. They both knew what happened if the judge sided with Marcus. They let Grace out on her own recognizance at midnight. Comfort picked her up. Drove her back to the house. Grace went straight to the guest room. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed. Text from Sarah: Mom, are you okay? Jasmine's mom said you got arrested. Grace typed back: I'm fine. Just a misunderstanding. Are you still at Jasmine's? Yes. But I can't stay much longer. Her parents are asking questions. I'll figure something out. Just give me a few days. Mom, I'm scared. Dad keeps calling. He says if I don't come home he'll report me as a runaway. You're not a runaway. You're choosing to stay somewhere safe. That's not how the police will see it. Grace knew Sarah was right. At 16, Sarah was still a minor. Marcus had custody. If he reported her missing, the police would make her go back. Another text from Sarah: Marcus Jr. called me. He said I'm betraying the family. He said Dad's really hurt by what I did. Your father isn't hurt. He's angry because he got caught. Marcus Jr. said you're poisoning me against Dad. That you're lying about everything. I'm not lying. You saw the evidence. You sent it to me yourself. I know. But everyone's mad at me now. Marcus Jr. won't talk to me. Dad's threatening me. I feel like I ruined everything. Grace's heart broke. Baby, you didn't ruin anything. You did the right thing. The brave thing. I know it's hard right now. But you saved me. You understand, you saved your mom's life. No response for 5 minutes. Then I need to think. I need time. Can you stop texting me for a while? Grace stared at the message. Okay. I love you. Sarah didn't respond. The next morning Grace was back in court for the restraining order violation hearing. Different judge. Younger. Woman. Grace couldn't read her. Marcus's lawyer went first. Your Honor, Ms. Mensah deliberately violated the restraining order. She went to my client's home. Trespassed. Frightened him. This demonstrates a pattern of erratic, dangerous behavior. The judge looked at Grace. Ms. Mensah, did you go to your ex-husband's residence last night? Grace stood. I was across the street, Your Honor. My daughter's phone was off. I was worried. I just wanted to make sure she was safe. The order specifies 500 feet. Were you within 500 feet? Yes. But then you violated the order. Your Honor, I wasn't trying to contact my ex-husband. I was looking for my child. Did you call the police when you couldn't reach her? Grace hesitated. No. Why not? Because she didn't trust police. Because police had never helped her before. Because every time she'd called them during the marriage, they'd looked at Marcus's charming face and Grace's foreign accent and decided she was the problem. I don't know. I panicked. The judge made notes. I'm extending the restraining order and adding electronic monitoring. Ms. Mensah, you'll wear an ankle monitor. If you come within 500 feet of Mr. Williams's residence, you'll be arrested immediately. Understood. Yes, Your Honor. They fitted the ankle monitor before she left the courthouse. Heavy. Uncomfortable. A physical reminder that she was being watched. Controlled. Even now. Even after leaving. Outside, Rebecca was on her phone. She hung up when she saw Grace. That was the immigration judge's office. Your hearing got moved up. Moved up to when? Next week. Grace felt the ground shift. Next week, but the evidence review isn't for 2 weeks. How can they deport me before they can do whatever they want? We'll file for a continuance. But Grace, I need you to prepare for the possibility that you'll be deported before we can use the evidence. So everything Sarah did was for nothing. Not for nothing. It can still help with custody. But immigration court is different. They don't care about abuse. They care about visa status. And yours expired 20 years ago. Grace sat on the courthouse steps. Put her head in her hands. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep fighting when every single system is designed to destroy me. Rebecca sat next to her. You're right. The system is designed to destroy you. It's designed to protect men like Marcus and punish women like you. But Grace, you've survived 20 years. You survived him beating you. You survived him controlling every aspect of your life. You survived leaving with nothing. You can survive this too. Can I? Because it feels like I'm drowning and every time I come up for air someone pushes me back under. Then we make sure you stay above water long enough to reach shore. Grace's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Grace, this is Detective Ramirez from Family Services. We received a report that your daughter Sarah Williams is currently harboring at a friend's home against her custodial parents' wishes. Can you confirm her location? Grace's blood ran cold. I don't know where she is. Ms. Mensah, I need you to be honest. Your daughter is a minor. Her father has custody. If she doesn't return home within 24 hours, we'll have to issue a missing persons report. She's not missing. She's staying with a friend. Without her custodial parents' permission, that's considered runaway behavior. Now I can either send officers to every friend's house she has, make this a big drama, or you can tell me where she is and we'll handle this quietly. Grace looked at Rebecca. Rebecca shook her head. I'm sorry. I can't help you. Then we'll do this the hard way. The detective hung up. Grace immediately called Sarah. No answer. She texted, the police are looking for you. They're calling you a runaway. You need to call me. 5 minutes. 10. No response. Grace called Jasmine's house. A woman answered. Hi, this is Grace Mensah. I'm Sarah's mother. Is she there? Sarah left about an hour ago. Said she was going home. She went back to her father's, I assume so. Is everything okay? Grace hung up. Called Sarah again. Voicemail. She called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Is Sarah there? Why would I tell you? Marcus, please. The police are looking for her. I just need to know she's safe. She's home. She's fine. She realized where she belongs. Let me talk to her. No. Marcus, you don't get to talk to her anymore. Grace. You had your chance. You turned her against me. You made her steal from me. But she came back. Because she knows I'm her real parent. You're just the woman who gave birth to her. The line went dead. Grace turned to Rebecca. She went back. She went back to him. She's 16. She's confused. She doesn't know what else to do. He's going to punish her. You don't understand. Marcus doesn't forgive betrayal. He's going to make her life hell. Grace tried calling Sarah 10 more times that day. Every call went to voicemail. She texted. No responses. By evening she was frantic. Comfort tried to calm her down. Maybe she just needs space. Maybe Marcus took her phone. Or maybe something worse happened. Don't think like that. But Grace couldn't think any other way. She knew Marcus. Knew what he was capable of. And Sarah had defied him. Stolen from him. Helped Grace. Marcus would see that as the ultimate betrayal. That night Grace couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m. her phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Mom, I'm sorry. I had to come back. Dad said if I didn't he'd press charges against you for kidnapping. I couldn't let him do that. Grace sat up. Typed back, baby, you didn't kidnap anyone. I told you to stay at Jasmine's. Dad's lawyer said you coerced me. That you manipulated me into stealing documents and running away. He said you could go to jail. That's a lie. Is it because everything Dad says lately sounds like a lie, but I don't know what's true anymore? I don't know who to believe. Believe yourself. You saw those emails. Those bank statements. You know what he did. I know he's my dad. And I know he's never leaving. Which means if I want any kind of life I have to learn to live with him. Sarah, please, I can't talk anymore. He checks my phone. Delete these messages. I love you. No response. Grace deleted the messages like Sarah asked. Sat in the dark. Realized she was losing her daughter all over again. The next week was a blur. Meetings with Rebecca. Preparation for the immigration hearing. Calls to ICE that went nowhere. Grace moved through it all like a ghost. Hollow. Empty. Waiting for the next blow. The day before the immigration hearing, Rebecca called. I have news. The judge reviewed the evidence Sarah provided. He wants to reopen the custody case. Grace's heart jumped. When a week after your immigration hearing? A week after Rebecca, if I get deported that hearing doesn't matter. I know. Which is why we need to win tomorrow. I've been in touch with the immigration judge's office. We're arguing that Marcus's fraud constitutes extreme cruelty. That you qualify for a U visa not just because of physical abuse but because he used your immigration status as a weapon. Will it work? I don't know. Immigration judges are unpredictable. But it's our best shot. That night Comfort made Grace her favorite meal. Jollof rice. Plantains. Goat stew. They ate in silence. After dinner Comfort took Grace's hands. Whatever happens tomorrow, you fought. You understand, you didn't give up. You didn't let him win without a fight. But he might still win. Maybe. But even if he does, you showed your daughter what courage looks like. You showed her a woman can leave. Can fight back. Can survive. That lesson, Grace, that's worth everything. Grace wanted to believe her. Wanted to think that even losing could be winning if the fight itself meant something. But she was tired. So tired. 20 years of fighting and she still wasn't free. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Marcus Jr. I need to talk to you. Tomorrow morning. Before your hearing. It's important. Grace stared at the message. Her son. Who'd refused to see her for 6 months. Who'd chosen his father. Who'd called her a liar and a deserter. She typed back, why now? Because I found something. Something you need to see. Grace's hands shook. What did you find? Not over text. Meet me at the coffee shop on 5th Street. 7 a.m. I have a hearing at 9. I can't be late. This won't take long. But Mom. It's important. Please. Mom. He'd called her mom. For the first time in months. Grace typed, "I'll be there." She lay in bed that night wondering what Marcus Jr. had found. Wondering if this was a trap. Wondering if her son was finally seeing his father clearly or if this was just another way for Marcus to destroy her. At 6:30 a.m. she got up. Got dressed. Comfort drove her to the coffee shop. Grace walked in. Saw Marcus Jr. sitting in the back corner. He looked like his father. Same build. Same face. But his eyes were different. Scared. Grace sat down across from him. "What did you find?" Marcus Jr. pulled out his phone. Showed her a video. His hand was shaking. "I found this on Dad's computer. After Sarah sent you those photos I went looking. To see if she was lying. If you were lying. I found. Mom, I found this." He pressed play. Grace watched. And everything changed. The video showed Marcus. In their old bedroom. Talking to someone off camera. The timestamp said 3 years ago. She has no idea her visa expired, Marcus was saying. "I've been telling her it's renewed every year. She believes everything I tell her." A man's voice. "And you're sure she can't find out? How would she? I control all the documents. All the mail. She doesn't even know how to check immigration status online." Marcus laughed. "It's perfect. She can't leave. Can't threaten me. One phone call to ICE and she's deported. She's completely trapped. What about the kids? The kids are mine. American citizens. Even if she tries to leave, they stay here. She'd never abandon them. So she stays. Forever." The video ended. Grace couldn't breathe. Marcus Jr. was crying. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. All these years I thought you were weak. That you stayed because you had no backbone. But you stayed because of us. Because leaving meant losing us." Grace's hands shook. "When did you find this? Last night?" He has hundreds of videos. Plans. Strategies. He recorded everything. Every conversation with his lawyer about controlling you. Every scheme. It's all there. "Why are you showing me this now?" Marcus Jr. wiped his eyes. "Because Sarah came home 2 days ago crying. Because Dad took her phone and locked her in her room. Because he told her she betrayed the family and now she has to earn back his trust. And I realized. You've been telling the truth the whole time. And we didn't believe you." Grace reached across the table. Touched her son's hand. "You were children. He manipulated you. That's what abusers do. I'm 19. I should have known better. 19 is still young. And he's your father. You wanted to believe the best of him." Grace squeezed his hand. "Can I have that video? I have copies of everything. 30 videos. 50 documents. All of it showing what he did." Marcus Jr. pulled out a flash drive. "I don't know if this helps your case. But you deserve to have it." Grace took the flash drive. "Thank you. Mom, can I ask you something? Anything? Why did you marry him?" Grace thought about that young woman in Ghana. 25. Desperate. Drowning in poverty and duty and hope. "I thought he was saving me. I didn't realize he was buying me." At 8:30 Grace walked into Rebecca's office. Handed her the flash drive. "What's this evidence?" "From my son. Videos of Marcus planning everything. How he let my visa lapse. How he trapped me. All of it." Rebecca plugged in the drive. Watched 3 videos. Her eyes got wider with each one. "Grace, this is a smoking gun. This proves premeditated fraud. Extreme cruelty. This changes everything. Can we use it in the hearing we're going to try?" Rebecca looked at the clock. "We have 20 minutes. Let me call the judge's clerk." The immigration hearing was in a cold room with fluorescent lights and no windows. The judge was a black woman. 60s. Looked tired. Grace tried to read her face. Couldn't. "This is the matter of Grace Mensah. Deportation proceedings. Ms. Morrison, I understand you have new evidence." Rebecca stood. "Yes, Your Honor. Evidence that Ms. Mensah's visa lapse was not her fault but part of a deliberate scheme by her ex-husband to trap her in an abusive marriage." "I'm listening." Rebecca submitted the flash drive. Explained what it contained. The judge watched 2 videos. Her expression didn't change. "This is disturbing. But Ms. Morrison, your client still overstayed her visa. For 20 years. That's a violation of immigration law. A violation that occurred because she was a victim of extreme cruelty as defined under U visa qualifications. Has her U visa been approved? It's pending. So no, it hasn't been approved. The judge looked at Grace. Ms. Mensah, why didn't you verify your visa status yourself? Grace stood. Because I trusted my husband, Your Honor. I know that sounds naive. But I was young. In a foreign country. I didn't know how the system worked. And every time I asked about it, he told me everything was handled. I believed him. For 20 years. For 15 years. I found out the truth 3 years ago. That's when I started trying to leave. But leaving meant losing my children. Meant deportation. Meant everything I'd worked for was gone. So I stayed. I stayed because I was trapped. The judge made notes. The ICE agent would like to make a statement. A woman in a suit stood up. Your Honor, Ms. Mensah has been in the country illegally for 2 decades. She's worked without proper documentation. She's used resources she wasn't entitled to. Immigration law exists for a reason. We can't make exceptions just because someone claims abuse. Claims abuse. Rebecca's voice was sharp. Your Honor, we have medical records. Photos of injuries. Hospital visits spanning 20 years. This isn't a claim. It's documented fact. That may be. But abuse, however terrible, doesn't negate immigration violations. The judge held up a hand. I've heard enough. I'll review the evidence and issue a ruling within 24 hours. Ms. Mensah, do you have a place to stay? Yes, Your Honor. Then you're free to go pending my decision. But I'm ordering you to surrender your passport. You're a flight risk. Grace handed over her passport. The only proof she existed. The only ID she had. Gone. Outside the courthouse, Rebecca put a hand on Grace's shoulder. That judge is tough. But fair. If anyone's going to see through Marcus's manipulation, it's her. And if she doesn't, then you're deported. And you fight from Ghana. Try to get back legally. That could take years. My children will be adults by then. I'll have lost them. I know. But Grace, we did everything we could. Now we wait. Grace spent that night at Comfort's house. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Just lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow the judge would decide if Grace stayed in America or left forever. Tomorrow she'd know if 20 years of fighting was worth it or if she'd lost everything anyway. At 6 a.m. her phone rang. Rebecca. The judge issued her ruling early. Grace, you need to sit down. Grace sat on the bed. Tell me. You won. Your deportation is cancelled. Your U visa is approved pending final paperwork. You're legal, Grace. You can stay. Grace couldn't speak. Couldn't process it. 20 years of being illegal. Of hiding. Of fearing every knock on the door. Over. Grace, you there? I'm here. I can't believe it. Believe it. The judge's ruling was scathing. She said Marcus's actions constituted a deliberate, calculated campaign of psychological torture using immigration status as a weapon. She said you're exactly the kind of victim the U visa program was designed to protect. Grace started crying. Real tears. Not sadness. Not pain. Relief. Pure relief. What happens now? Now we focus on custody. The hearing is tomorrow. With this immigration ruling, your position is much stronger. You're legal. You're not a flight risk. You're a domestic violence survivor who's been granted protection by the U.S. government. The custody hearing the next day was in the same courthouse where Grace had lost 6 months ago. Different judge. Man this time. Older. White hair. He looked at Grace like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. Marcus was there with his lawyer. He looked smaller somehow. Deflated. He wouldn't meet Grace's eyes. This is a petition to reopen custody arrangements for Sarah Williams, age 16. I've reviewed the evidence submitted. Videos. Documents. Testimony from both children. This is highly unusual. The judge looked at Marcus. Mr. Williams, these videos show you deliberately sabotaging your wife's immigration status. Do you deny this? Marcus's lawyer stood. Your Honor, those videos are taken out of context. I asked Mr. Williams. Not you. The judge stared at Marcus. Do you deny it? Marcus stood slowly. No, I don't deny it. A murmur went through the courtroom. Grace felt her chest tighten. The judge's face hardened. You trapped a woman in an abusive marriage using her immigration status. You isolated her from her children. You lied to this court. Mr. Williams, in my 30 years on the bench, I've seen terrible things. But this is calculated evil. Marcus said nothing. His lawyer tried to speak. The judge cut him off. I'm not finished. I'm also disturbed by the testimony from Sarah Williams. She states that after providing evidence to her mother, you confined her to her room, took her phone, told her she had torn back your trust. That, Mr. Williams, is abuse. And I will not allow it to continue. The judge looked at Grace. Ms. Mensah, I'm granting you primary custody of Sarah effective immediately. Mr. Williams will have supervised visitation only. 2 hours per week. To be re-evaluated in 6 months. Grace couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. She'd won. After 20 years. She'd won. Marcus stood up. Your Honor, please. She's my daughter, your daughter who you used as a weapon against her mother. Sit down, Mr. Williams. I made mistakes, but I love my kids. Love doesn't look like what you've done. Sit down or I'll hold you in contempt. Marcus sat. His face was red. Angry. But also something else. Afraid. The judge continued. I'm also ordering Mr. Williams to pay child support. Back support for the 6 months Ms. Mensah has been without income. And ongoing support until Sarah turns 18. Marcus's lawyer finally spoke. Your Honor, my client is unemployed. He can't afford, then he should find employment. Like Ms. Mensah had to do while raising 2 children and working 3 jobs. The judge signed papers. This hearing is adjourned. Grace walked out into the hallway. Her legs felt like water. Rebecca was smiling. Comfort was crying. Marcus Jr. was standing by the window. Grace walked over to him. Thank you. I should have done it sooner. I should have believed you years ago. You did it when you were ready. That's what matters. Sarah came running down the hallway. 16 years old. Crying. She threw herself into Grace's arms. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I said. Everything I believed. I was so wrong. Grace held her daughter. Smelled her hair. Felt her heartbeat. You're not wrong anymore. That's what counts. Can I really live with you as soon as I find a place? A real place. Where we can be safe. Where we can heal. I don't need a big place. I just need you. Grace kissed the top of Sarah's head. Looked over at Marcus Jr. He was watching them. Tears running down his face. Marcus, Grace called. Come here. He walked over slowly. I'm not staying with Dad anymore either. I found an apartment. Near campus. I'm moving out this week. Good. You deserve better than him. So do you. So did you. All those years. Marcus Jr. took a shaky breath. Can I see you sometimes? Can we try to be? I don't know. A family again. We never stopped being a family. We just got lost for a while. But yes. Yes, you can see me. Anytime. Always. They stood there in the courthouse hallway. Mother. Daughter. Son. Broken but together. Damaged but healing. Free. Marcus walked past them. Didn't look at them. Didn't speak. Just walked past like they were strangers. Grace watched him go. Felt nothing. No anger. No fear. No sadness. Just nothing. He was nobody now. Just a man who'd hurt her. Past tense. Finished. 3 months later, Grace stood in her new apartment. 1 bedroom. Small. But clean. Safe. Hers. Sarah was in the bedroom hanging posters. Marcus Jr. was helping her move furniture. Mom, where do you want this table? By the window. Where the light is good. Grace looked around. The apartment wasn't much. Donated furniture. Second-hand dishes. Thrift store clothes. But it was hers. No man controlled it. No one told her where to sit or what to cook or how to live. She had a job now. Nursing assistant at a hospice. Not the nurse she'd dreamed of being. But it was honest work. Good work. Helping people at the end of their lives. Giving them dignity. Comfort. Care. Things she'd been denied for so long. Sarah came out of the bedroom. The bed is set up. Where are you going to sleep? The couch. It's fine. Mom, no. You take the bedroom. I'll take the couch. Sarah, you're 16. You need a real bed. I'm fine. You've been sleeping on other people's couches for months. Please. Take the bed. Marcus Jr. interrupted. Why don't you both share the bedroom? Put 2 beds in there. It's big enough. Grace and Sarah looked at each other. Sarah nodded. Yeah, that works. We can be roommates. Grace smiled. Okay. Roommates. They set up the bedroom together. 2 twin beds. 1 for Grace. 1 for Sarah. At night Grace would lie in her bed and hear Sarah breathing across the room. Alive. Safe. Home. Some nights Sarah had nightmares. Would wake up crying. Grace would get out of bed. Sit with her. Hold her. Tell her it was okay. They were safe now. Nobody could hurt them. Some nights Grace had nightmares too. Would wake up feeling Marcus's hands around her throat. Would panic. Couldn't breathe. Sarah would wake up. Come to Grace's bed. Hold her mother the way Grace had held her. You're safe now, Mom. He can't hurt you anymore. They were healing. Both of them. Slowly. Painfully. But healing. Marcus Jr. visited twice a week. Brought groceries. Helped with rent sometimes when Grace came up short. He was in therapy now. Processing what he'd seen. What he'd been part of. What he'd failed to see. I keep thinking about all the times I heard you crying through the walls, he said one night over dinner. All the times I saw bruises and believed Dad when he said you'd fallen. I was complicit. You were a child. I was old enough to know better. Marcus, you can't blame yourself for what your father did. That's his guilt. Not yours. But I didn't protect you. I didn't protect Sarah. I should have. You're protecting us now. That's what matters. Grace got a letter from her siblings in Ghana. They'd heard everything. Wanted to know if she was okay. Grace wrote back. Told them the truth. All of it. How their generous brother-in-law had actually been torturing their sister for 20 years. How the money he'd sent had been money Grace earned. How every cent had been bought with her blood. Her brother called. Grace, we didn't know. He told us you were happy. That you had a good life. I know. He lied to everyone. That's what he does. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me over him? The American with money. Silence. Then I'm sorry. I know. It's okay. I survived. That's what matters. Grace started volunteering at the domestic violence shelter. The same one that had been full when she needed help. She translated for immigrant women. Helped them navigate the system. Told them her story so they knew they weren't alone. You really left after 20 years? One woman asked. Nigerian accent. Pregnant. Afraid. Yes. And you got your kids back eventually. It took months. It was the hardest thing I ever did. But yes. Was it worth it? Grace thought about that. About the custody battles. The immigration hearings. The nights sleeping on benches and in laundromats. The 6 months of fighting just to see her daughter for an hour a week. The cost of freedom. Yes, she said finally. It was worth it. Because I'm alive. And alive I could fight. Dead I'm nothing. Trapped I'm nothing. But free I can be anything. The woman started crying. I'm so scared. I know. I was terrified too. But being scared and staying is worse than being scared and leaving. At least when you leave, the fear has an ending. On Grace's 46th birthday, Sarah baked a cake. Marcus Jr. brought flowers. Comfort came over with jollof rice. Pastor John stopped by with a card. Rebecca called to check in. They sang happy birthday. Grace blew out candles. Made a wish. Not for anything big. Just for this. This moment. This feeling of being surrounded by people who loved her. Who chose her. Who stayed. After everyone left, Sarah crawled into bed next to Grace. Mom, yeah, are you happy? Grace thought about that. Happy. Such a simple word. Such a complicated feeling. Was she happy she was broke? Working a job that paid minimum wage. Living in a tiny apartment. Sleeping on a second-hand mattress. Still dealing with trauma that woke her up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat. But she was also free. Legal. Safe. With her daughter. Rebuilding a relationship with her son. Helping other women escape the same hell she'd lived through. Yeah, Grace said. I think I am. Are you? I'm getting there. Some days are hard. Some days I miss. Not Dad. But the idea of Dad. The family I thought we had. I know. But most days I'm just grateful we're out. That we're here. Together. Grace pulled Sarah closer. Me too, baby. Me too. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into a year. Grace got her work permit. Started taking classes online. Working toward her nursing license. It would take 3 years. But she had time now. Time and freedom and the ability to dream again. Marcus tried to contact her once. Text message, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Can we talk? Grace stared at the message for a long time. Part of her wanted to respond. To tell him everything he'd taken from her. Everything he'd destroyed. But another part of her knew that engaging with him gave him power. And she was done giving him power. She blocked his number. Deleted the message. Moved on. Sarah graduated high school. Got accepted to 3 colleges. Chose the one closest to home so she could stay near Grace. I'm not ready to leave you yet, Mom. Not after everything. Marcus Jr. graduated college. Got a job. Started dating a woman who was kind and strong and didn't take his shit. I'm learning what healthy relationships look like, he told Grace. It's weird. Good weird. But weird. 2 years after the custody hearing, Grace got a call from Rebecca. Your U visa was approved. Final paperwork went through. You're a permanent resident now. In 5 years you can apply for citizenship. Grace sat down. I can stay. Forever. Forever. Grace hung up. Walked to the window. Looked out at the city. Minneapolis. Cold. Gray. Nothing like Ghana. Nothing like the America she'd dreamed of. But it was hers now. Really hers. Not Marcus's. Not dependent on anyone. Hers. She thought about that 25-year-old girl boarding a plane 21 years ago. Full of hope. Full of dreams. That girl had no idea what was waiting for her. The pain. The fear. The 20 years of survival that would hollow her out and rebuild her into someone completely different. If Grace could go back and warn that girl, would she tell her not to get on the plane, not to marry Marcus, not to come to America at all? Number. Because that suffering had led to this. This freedom. This life. This version of herself that was scarred but strong. Broken but rebuilt. Lost but found. Grace pulled out her phone. Took a selfie. Sent it to the domestic violence survivors group chat she'd started. 17 women. All different nationalities. All fighting their own battles. The caption, 2 years free. Still standing. Still fighting. Still here. The responses came immediately. Heart emojis. Praying hands. Messages of support. You give me hope. If you can do it, I can do it. Thank you for showing us it's possible. Grace smiled. Put down her phone. Made herself a cup of tea. Sat by the window. Watched the sun set over the city she'd earned the right to call home. She wasn't the nurse she'd dreamed of being. She wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. She didn't have the American dream she'd been sold. But she had something better. She had freedom. Real freedom. The kind you can only earn by walking through fire and coming out the other side still breathing. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.